Hello everyone, and welcome to Sunup. I'm Lyndall Stout. We want to begin the show today talking about Oklahoma's winter canola crop. We're joined by Josh Lofton, our Extension Cropping System Specialist. And Josh, let's just kind of start off with an overview of how the crop's looking right now.
Well, since our last update, the crop has really gained a lot of steam. Late in last fall, we had a lot of a really good crop up here. Your north central, your central part of the state. It's a little questionable on the southwest. They planted it late. They didn't have a whole lot of moisture. We were really iffy, and it all depended on the freeze, when our first freeze was going to happen. Luckily for us, that freeze was well into December, and a lot of that crop came up and is looking good. So pretty much across the state, we're looking at a really good crop. We have a lot of good steam going into the spring, so we're sitting really good right now.
Let's talk about these unseasonably warm temperatures and kind of what that's done to the crop and what some of the production guidance would be as a result.
Yeah, so because it has been so warm, the crop got a little bit growth on it, took up its fair share of nutrients, had a lot of vegetation. We saw a lot of this purpling of the canola late in the year, and then beginning when we started seeing that new growth this year, that purpling is just a sign of stress. So the canola plant's under stress, and that could be through many things, standing water, really low temperatures, but it also could be a nutrient stress, and that's where growers need to start realizing that now's the time to start trying to make up for those stresses and go out and manage them accordingly. And
so what do they need to do in terms of management tips given this situation?
Right now, priority number one needs to be top dress. If you haven't top dressed, now's the time to do it. We've had a lot of guys have to kind of hold on to their nitrogen just because we've been waiting on moisture. Hopefully in the near future, we can get that associated moisture to where we can put out some of that material and get it in. If you're running liquid, you're a little better off because you can put it in with maybe not as much moisture associated. The second thing is, depending on your crop stage, that last glyphosate application, if you're in Roundup Ready systems, is also in that top priority. Once you've got about those multiple leaves set on it, especially once you've gone reproductive, it's off label to put the glyphosate out. So you have to make sure that your crop's in the right situation when you're putting that last Roundup application out.
And then how about scouting for insects? Is it too early? Should we start?
Well, if we keep on the bearing that we're doing right now and essentially getting into spring real early, now's the time. We're starting to see some of those insects pop up in real isolated spots, maybe a certain spot in the field, and some people might not have seen any yet. But if it continues to warm and we continue to get this warmer weather and we don't have these real heavy frosts and freezes, it's time to get boots on the ground and start looking for those insects to where we can get ahead of the curve. The aphids are a big thing this time of year when we're starting to re-green up. So make sure you're looking for those aphids, making sure you're looking for diamondback moth larvae. Those are going to be our big ones. And make sure you're scouting. Just because you're growing across the field with your glyphosate or with a nutrient application doesn't mean that you just put a pyrethroid in the tank. Make sure you're scouting, because just putting in an insecticide could do you more damage than benefit.
Last but not least, you and the team are gearing up for the No-Till Conference. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we have a great lineup set up for the No-Till Conference this year. It's actually the 1st and the 2nd of March down in Norman. Like I said, it's a great lineup. We got a lot of good topics, a lot of good timely topics talking about low input in a conservation-based system. So get ready for that.
Okay, sounds great. Josh, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And for a link to the No-Till Conference registration, go to sunup.okstate.edu.